Hey, what's up, everyone? Just wanted to talk about the horrors of working at a retail store. So, just started a job at a retail store for a couple months now, just because I'm in between jobs and I kind of need the money. So, I decided technically I work retail sales on both my jobs. I work two jobs. One of them pays me commission, one of them doesn't. Now, the one that doesn't pay me commission is a major electronics store. We'll just put it as that. Okay, I'm not gonna name it, but the pay is not very good. So, every time you get demeaned or anyone's kind of being a dick to you, you know what? I'm just gonna fly it back to Dalaran while I tell the story. Anytime someone's being an asshole to you or feels entitled, it's just astounding to me because you go to any of these other retailers, I'm getting paid minimum wage, and these other retailers, they don't have to go up to customers and ask them, hey, how are you doing? Or even get pressed about the sales numbers, this and that. So it's always been interesting to me. Now, this specific couple needed help at the appliances. I was called on the radio and I went to go help them. And I was more than happy to help them because it was an older couple and they just wanted help with their microwave, like just understanding how to use a microwave. Now I have a soft spot for old people, so I decided, it's a busy day. I'm still gonna be willing to teach you how to use a microwave. That's fine. I go teach them how to use a microwave so I go, okay, and so the husband was a very nice guy. The wife was not very appreciative, very entitled. Um, so I teach her, okay, press 1 minute for 1 minute, 2 minute for 2 minute, 3 minute for 3 minute, and very simple. And then she asked me, what if I want to cook my carrots for 10 minutes? Uh, I taught her, you click set and then 1000. But that was too complex for her. And even opening the microwave. So this specific microwave, it had a little latch. It had a little latch, and she just didn't even understand that. Like, you had to press the latch, and then you could pull the microwave open. It's not that complex, to be honest with you. But she looked at me and said, this is too difficult. After me teaching her for 30 minutes, literally 30 minutes, after all that talking, she goes, this is too complex. Finally, I go, do you want to purchase this one? She goes, yes. And then I tell her, this one is actually going to be cheaper than some of the other ones because this one is a open box one. An open box one is going to be much cheaper just because it doesn't have a box, and you're gonna save about 20 bucks, 30 bucks. And she was like, oh, okay. She didn't want to pay for a new one. That's fine. So then I ring her and her husband up. Her husband was a nice guy. She was partially blind, I understand that, but she was just very entitled about everything. So then we go back. Her husband comes back maybe 10-15 minutes later saying, hey, does that micro? I even bring it to their car for them. I don't have to do that. I bring it to their car for them because I'm a nice guy. I shake his hand and that's it. He comes back maybe 10-15 minutes going, hey, does that microwave have a booklet? And I tell him, no, there's no booklet. I radio my manager's like, hey, does that, like, it's an open box, it doesn't have a booklet, what do I do? And my managers tell me, oh, they gotta go look online. Do you really believe that these people that are dust, they can look online? She can't even open a latch. So the fact that we're in 2026 and there's people that don't know how to use a microwave, where a microwave is still like the same thing from what it's been 20 years ago. What that tells me is you stop trying to even learn for the past 20-30 years, which is astounding to me. In life I feel like everyone should always be trying to learn more, try to strive for something better, right? And her husband comes back and goes, yeah, there's no booklet. And I wave him off. I'm like, hey, look, there's no booklet because you guys bought an open box one. So he disappears. Later on, her and her husbands come stomping in, telling my manager, oh, this guy sold me a microwave and he didn't tell me there was no booklet, this and that. And then I finally get the microwave, and then I get it to them, and then they ended up paying $20-$30 more for a fucking booklet, bro. You know, that is. Oh, I never noticed there was a little train up on top of there. That's actually kind of cool. But, yeah. That is insane. You paid 30-40 bucks just for a fucking booklet on a fucking microwave. What is there to teach for a fucking microwave? These people are fucking insane. And they're allowed to vote. The fact that these people are even allowed to vote and allowed to drive is insane to me. I don't think that should be even legal. Let's talk about one more crazy one. This is probably the worst customer I've had yet. So I sold this one guy. He just seemed like a middle-aged white guy. He just came in, and he was looking for TV. I hooked him up, and he was really easy going. And then he was on the phone at the checkout. He was on the phone talking to his buddy, and then his buddy's like, "Oh, ask him if the TCL TV is good." And I told him, "No, so some of the Samsungs are going to be a lot better than the TCL ones. It depends whether it's mini LED or OLED. There's a lot of different displays, so it's not just that." So, you know, and then he tells me, "Oh, my buddy's actually gonna come here later to pick up a TV." I go, "Bet. All right, you're gonna go pick up a Samsung?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna go pick up a Samsung." Or he's gonna come pick up a Samsung. Okay, bet. Later on, his buddy comes in. It's this big fat guy that he was like really big. And he comes in and he's like, "Oh yeah, let me just get that TV. Let me get the biggest TV you got. Let me get an OLED." I said, "Bet. OLED is better than mini LED." Okay. And so he wanted the biggest mini OLED TV, and I said, "Okay, I'll hook you up." Right when I'm about to cash him out, I have to go to the back to grab the TV. I come back, and he's talking to this other supervisor. He's not even a manager, he's a supervisor. And this supervisor has always been known to be kind of a dickhead. Like, he takes the job too seriously. We sell toys, right? Like, nothing in the store is that realistic. This guy has thrown something at me, like, so one time because we're required to wear a safety vest every time we go outside the store for some fucking reason, and he threw a fucking vest at me. I'm tempted to actually report him to HR for that. I don't know why I let that pass. You know what? I am gonna report that. Anyway, so he started talking to this, and also too, this supervisor is a big fat guy, about 400 or 500 pounds. You know, just one of those people that don't have a good personality, overweight, doesn't really like their job. I actually do like my job. I just don't like some of the customers that come in, and it makes you feel jaded because some of the customers are horrible, right? And so, that happens, and so, so what happens is this customer, he just talks to the supervisor, and the supervisor, and then he's talking to the supervisor, and then he points at me. He's like, "Oh yeah, I don't trust this guy." I'm like, "Okay, I guess the supervisor can, recommend a different one than the one I recommended. Okay, that's fine." He recommends one, and then he recommends a whole different one. He's like, "Is this TV better than TCL?" And here's the thing: when he came in, he did not show me the TCL that he's talking about. There are OLED, there's mini LED, there's different TVs out there. By far, OLED is always gonna be better than mini LED, especially quantum QOLED TVs. OLEDs with quantum dots on it is always going to be better than mini LED because the contrast is higher. There's no halo effect. Even though mini LED, you do get a brighter display. Okay, that's fine. And being that supervisor, he's a fat guy that doesn't really understand tech. I already know he doesn't really understand tech. That's fine. He goes in and he says, "No, this one has higher refresh rate." In my head, I'm thinking, the display is better. He's probably not going to be using it for gaming, so I recommended him one that's 60 hertz. Most people do not go past 60 hertz. If you're just watching a football game, sure, it does look better. I will agree. but for most movies are filmed at 24 frames per second, so I just recommended a good OLED at a decent price that isn't 144 hertz but 60 hertz. And you know, he starts to the supervisor argues with me, makes me look stupid, like, oh, the hertz on that is very important, you know. Technically, in every way, I would still choose the OLED all the way. But you know, maybe personal preference, right? So then we walk around, and then I have this other coworker, and this coworker, he's kind of, how do you say this? He was kind of a know-it-all, and I asked him, hey, do you think mini LED is better than OLED? And he says this, and I quote, "It's been scientifically proven that mini LED is better than OLED." I don't believe that's true. I've done enough demonstrations to show the halo effects, the washed out look, and that glow, that grayish glow that you get no matter what on every display, about, you know, quantum, or that glow that you get with mini LED compared to OLED. If you have quantum with OLED, that's the best you can get, in my opinion, by a long run. Costs more, but that is going to be the best display. So it makes me look stupid because he says that in front of the customer, and now he doesn't trust me at all. And then at this point, I'm like, look, I was like, okay, Ash, fucking, never mind. I'm just gonna not, I almost said his name. So, I tell the coworker, hey, just take it, and he doesn't want to take the customer. I'm like, oh my fucking god. I bring the TV out, and then I'm like, I at this point, I didn't want to deal with the guy. I don't make commission. And he's like, no, I want to buy the TV from you. I'm like, oh my fucking god. And then he just keeps calling me Joe Coy, because I don't even look anything like Joe Coy for some fucking reason, and he was just calling me random fucking names. But yeah, while he was talking, he was just like, yeah, what, you thought I was poor? You know, I'm not like my friend, the friend that first bought the TV. I'm not like my friend. He's getting a divorce, you know, and he's Arabic or something. I don't fucking know what he said, but he was just being a racist and like, and being a fucking asshole to his homie too. At that point, I just wanted him to get out. I did not want to deal with him, and he was just being a fucking dick. Okay, and so, you know, he ended up with a mini LED. I still believe he got kind of scammed. I just would have went with the fucking OLED. But anyways, and he didn't let me see the TCL that he was comparing it with, so I don't know what he was willing to pay. So I just recommended him one. All right, and so he just went in and just was being an asshole, and he's like, well, you thought I was poor, this and that. I make a lot of money, this and that. And then when I told him that we offer 0% financing, he turns around to his wife and goes, oh, do you want to get a microwave too? So essentially, he could have got the rewards for the entire TV and just paid it off in cash, but he did not have the cash, so he went 12 months financing. As soon as I told him there's financing available, that's the route he took. Not only that, he went to go finance a microwave. You just told me how much money you have, and you went to finance a microwave. How much money do you really have? For me, rich is you never have to work a day in your life. You know, you never have to worry about that. That is truly rich. Wealthy is generational money. Your grandkids don't have to work ever a day in their life. So for me, that is my definition of rich. Anyone that works is poor. That is how it works. If you get injured, you lose your job, you're screwed. That is so cool. I'm kind of jealous of this guy. Look at that. But anyways, that is the definition of rich. But you know, to each of their own. He ended up financing a microwave for some fucking reason, and yeah, I just got him out. I just did not want to deal with someone like that. But yeah, I guess that's the worst customer I've ever had. But he was talking shit the entire time. I just didn't like him. But I hope everyone is enjoying Wild Midnight. Alright, see ya.